Cool
Welcome,
stuff.
Panos.
Welcome, Luke.
Welcome to the first episode of Life with Your Dog podcast.
How good is that?
Yeah, man.
Very exciting.
So what are we going to do in this first episode? What's our agenda?
Well, we want to introduce what we're going to be, the content that we're going to be putting out to the people.
Mm-hmm.
We want to introduce our stories, and we want to talk about, why do we love dogs? How are dogs going to be affecting our lives within all the things that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah.
And, what are our goals? And we've got a few other things that we want to bring to the table too.
Yeah. So this is our first episode, like I said. Let's get into it. So
Awesome.
let's start with the story of Panos and Nooch's Pooches. Now, for those that don't know how we met, you originally trained my family's little rescue dog, Chloe, and you were amazing with her. And so, I was already hosting a podcast with my mum.
Our Human Condition.
And we invited you on that, and that was a great episode. And then from that, you said to me, hey, I've been thinking about doing my own podcast and, wanted some help with the technical side of things. And I thought, why don't we just do it together, man? So
Perfect.
That's brought us to this today.
I think it's really good too. I want to add is that because we haven't had a massive history before this, throughout how the podcast is going to go, we're going to get to know each other more, and through that, it's going to bring up more conversation, and I think it's going to create a real good organic way of understanding ourselves and the influence of how dogs have affected us, and because of that, it's going to create a great dynamic. So I'm really excited.
Me too, man. Should be good
Cool stuff.
Should be good. So let's start with your story, Bella. This is life with your dog. I'm not the dog expert, although I would like to learn a lot more, and that's part of the reason why I want to do this with you. I love dogs from an amateur's dog lover's perspective, but I don't have that education around dogs like you do. So I'm really hoping to learn a lot from you by doing this podcast and absorbing that knowledge from you and what you've done over the last decade or so. So let's start with how you got into the industry and what brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, beautiful, man. So basically, the story goes that when I was 17, just before I finished school, I was attacked. I got stabbed into the kidney, and dark times for me, brought up a lot of mental blockages and a lot of fear. And so the story went on in terms of I finished school, I got a full-time job, try to work as much as I can, save up some money to get to Europe, for my schoolies present. When I got back from Europe, my parents got me a Kelpie. His name was Rocky.
Yeah.
He was amazing, man. A red Kelpie, and I love that dog so much. The first time I got to meet him, it was really special. He jumped on me, looked at me with this real intent. It was almost like I've known him before. It was really special.
Like he was waiting for you.
It was interesting, man. I think my parents were saying my name a lot when I was there and giving my T-shirts and stuff. I think that the scent and, oh, look, Panos is here, Panos. And I think that could have contributed to that. But I think there was something a little bit more deeper from it. And
how long did they have him before you came back?
Probably like 3 weeks or something.
Okay.
Yeah, not even, maybe 2 weeks. So it was very
in
fresh.
The family house. So he's picking up your sand and that kind of thing.
That's right. And
anticipating for you to come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our first family dog. So we haven't had a dog before. We've had a cat my whole life. So I started walking him and hanging out with him and, getting to learn it. At first it was very surreal, because I didn't know what to expect. And I think that was the best thing about it, is that I went into it with no expectation. And also coming back from a long trip, it really, I had my own experiences meeting new people. We did a 45-day Kentucky tour. You can imagine just coming out of school and going through some of that trauma.
Yeah.
And then being in a new place with a whole bunch of new people. I did go on the holiday with a good friend of mine, which was good as well. But, you get to learn a lot about yourself in these situations. And then coming back home and then having this dog there was, it was really cool, man. It was a really special time in my life.
Yeah.
So, just getting into the routine of walking him every day. And I wasn't doing training. But of course, throughout all that, I think naturally I was obviously teaching him stuff.
You were, but you probably didn't realize it at the time,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was walking up the street and he was really cool. He was with me and he was following what I wanted him to do. Let's be honest, Kelpies are pretty smart dogs as well. So if you're pretty consistent.
Cattle dogs, right?
Yeah, well, cattle dogs, Kelpies, border collies, that working sort of dog.
Yeah, working dogs. That's what I meant.
That's right. They want to work with us.
Yeah,
So.
they have the drive.
Yes, big drive. And because they were developed over time to be following humans and to work for us, they've got that natural ability to follow command. So a random lady on the street with her dog walked past. She's, oh, you should be a dog trainer. And I didn't even think that job existed. I was like, oh, thanks, whatever, and kept them walking. And
Thanks, random lady on the street.
yeah,
What do you know?
What do you know? Come on, seriously.
Yeah.
So I was studying building at the time, and I worked at Randwick Racecourse as a groundsman. And so life went on. We had Rocky, and he got to about 1.5 years old. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with leukemia.
Fuck.
And
That's heavy, man. After what, 1.5 years?
no, it was really upsetting. You know, I was probably more upset and depressed when he was diagnosed. We only had about 3 weeks to live or something, which was so random. From being fully healthy, like seemed fully healthy, to being really sick was really, really quickly. And yeah, and I was legit upset, you know. It was really bad actually in that time, just as he was
Do you think that was more upsetting than your incident, than your stabbing?
So.
Yeah.
I felt more upset
Yeah.
from it, you know. And at that time I had pulled a hernia in my groin. So I was on light duties at work, so I couldn't really do much. I was in the tractor, you know, smoothing out the sand.
This is at Randwick?
At Randwick Racecourse, yeah. And all I had to do was just think about him, and it was really upsetting. We had such a cool connection that my mates come from their houses to my place, get Rocky and take him to Coogee, go for walks. He really influenced a lot of us, you know, and I think we all collectively went through, you know, that sort of trauma together.
Yeah.
And then the dog allowed us to kind of connect in a different way, which is really cool. And so basically Rocky was really, really sick, and we decided to put him down.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later I had hernia operation. So then I was off work, no dog around. It just put everything back upside down again. I really realized how much it was influencing me and actually helping me.
Yeah.
I guess all the themes that we're going to cover throughout our podcast in terms of, you know, what dogs do to us actually. Yeah. But yes, it was a pretty, you know, upsetting time in that time, especially because I couldn't go back into normal activities as well. So all I could do was think about it. And a month later, I just need a dog. So I went to Sydney Dogs and Cats Home in Carlton, and I seen Ace. He was a little black Kelpie. He was about 8 weeks old, and he was looking at me. I'm like, I need him.
Yeah.
There was another 3 different puppies there with him, but Ace.
He was a puppy at the time?
Yeah. And his name was originally Ajax, but I'm like, no, we're calling him Ace because he's a little acer. And
he's black like the Ace.
That's right,
yeah.
100%. He was a really cool dog. He was really, really smart. And yeah, so basically time went on, I started to see how much I loved being with my dog and being with animals. And I was speaking with friends at work while I worked at the race course, and I'm like, I just want to work with animals.
Yeah.
You know, let's do it. So, and they were really encouraging of me. I spoke with my parents. They were really supportive of me, and they're like, just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So that was when the penny dropped. I'm like, let's do it. So I basically stopped work. I quit my job. I quit TAFE, studying building, and I started doing animal studies at TAFE. And while I was doing that, I was volunteering at Sydney Dogs and Cats Home. So I was just walking the dogs and helping out where I could. And after a couple of weeks, I was offered a job.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come work.
But you never went into that situation thinking, I'm going to become a dog trainer or I'm going to get a job here. You were just kind of, was very organic.
Going with the flow.
Yeah.
100%. You know, and throughout all of this experience, it was my own personal development happening through that, you know, working with my intuition and, you know, trusting your gut instinct, you know, as well, rather than using the headspace so much. And my original idea and plan was to do captive animals and then work in the zoo or something.
Right. Like lions and that kind
tigers
of stuff.
and bears,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All the exotics. But, you know, the opportunity of having that I found was really hard. And I just thought, well, you know, we've got the dogs here. Dogs are in our life. They're animals and they're affecting us. And we have more hands-on with the experience with the animals or with our dogs. So I just thought I'm just going to stick out here and see what happens. And then, the manager there, Tiffany, we still remain really good friends. And she goes, hey, look, you know, I like your style and let's, you know, we need someone on the Sunday. So then from the Sunday it became 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and I was there full time. So
Yeah.
I was doing that, and then I ended up
What a journey, man. And then like, think about it. That never would have happened. First of all, obviously you had your incident with the stabbing, very unfortunate. Then you got Rocky. Then he got sick, unfortunately. But then if he hadn't gotten sick and then you hadn't gone to that pound to meet Ace, you never would have had a job
exactly
there. And then it's just like a domino effect, right?
100%.
And that's where you are today, 10 years later.
For sure. You know, it's like the lotus flower. You know, I think the lotus flower is very prominent in Eastern traditions from the story of, you know, like in the black muddy waters, this plant grows.
And it only grows in the mud as well.
Exactly.
It's not in spite of the mud, it's because of the mud, which is an important distinction, I think.
100%.